Amrita IAS Academy.
Could you please introduce yourself to the board?
Sir, my name is Akhil. I come from Thiruvananthapuram, which is the capital of Kerala. I did my schooling as well as my college from Thiruvananthapuram itself. Did my schooling from Christnagar Higher Secondary School and college from Sri Chitra Tirunal College of Engineering. My graduation was in BTech Electronics and Communication. After that, I started preparing for Civil Services Examination. I have also worked in Oracle India Private Limited for a year and a half. My optional is philosophy. This is my fifth attempt and second interview.
Was your optional philosophy in all these attempts?
Yes, sir. It was always philosophy.
What made you choose philosophy?
Sir, there are a couple of reasons. First one would be that electronics and communication as such was not a subject that was in the syllabus of Civil Services Examination. So I had to look for an alternative. And I was always curious about the philosophers' names that are mentioned in the syllabus, such as Buddhism or Shankaracharya's philosophy, Jainism. So these are philosophical names which we have heard, but we are unaware of. And then I looked forward for someone who could help me with the subject as well. And I found a mentor to help me through the subject for the examination as well. So these reasons coupled together, I took philosophy as an option.
In philosophy, are there specifically correct answers and wrong answers, or is something which is a little more intangible, and therefore scoring marks, high marks, may be difficult because your answer is not tick correct or tick wrong? Individual perspectives come in.
Sir, the rationale behind that, which I thought was that there are multiple philosophers and each philosopher has put his views to the public. So there is no question with regarding to that in terms of answering. So that was one rationale. And second, sir, I also wanted a little bit of space where we can answer to our from our own. So that I was interested in that aspect. I think by writing such answers, maybe there is also a chance of scoring very high marks because we can impress the evaluator as well. So I was willing to take that chance in that sense, and I took that.
Okay. So.
Yes. Akhil, every branch of knowledge,
Yes.
whether it is science or humanities, ultimately it should serve some useful purpose for humanity.
Yes.
So what purpose does philosophy serve?
Sir, philosophy by the word of it itself means love for wisdom. So I feel that philosophy engages a person in critical thinking, which is very much required in the 21st century. We can see that, for instance, certain philosophical positions such as Jainism promotes tolerance, whereas Buddhism gives the idea of middle path or Madhyam Marga. So in these aspects, it is a critical philosophy and it serves the purpose of humanity as such. Also, in other sense also, we can see that certain philosophy are very much relevant in the current realm as well, such as existential philosophy or philosophical position with regarding to religion or socio-political philosophy such as communism, capitalism. So in these sense, philosophy serves the purpose that's rightly pointed out. So I felt the same as well.
I often feel that we talk high-sounding philosophy, but we don't practice. For example, we say Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. But when it comes to the real politic, we practice something else. So how do these things be reconciled?
Sir, it is always a challenge. Preaching something and practicing something is a very which are polar opposite. But historically also we can see that in India, the Indian philosophical positions were not just an academic philosophy, but also a way of life which was practiced by people such as Buddha or Mahavira for that matter, Shankaracharya for that matter. So it had been put in practice, but it requires a lot of mental willpower. But when it comes to the foreign policies which sir rightly mentioned, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam is a policy which is very difficult to put in practice because of the current socio-political scenario, geopolitics of the current world. But through methods such as G20, India has also been trying to pursue such policies which are beneficial for the humanity as altogether. But it is definitely a difficult proposition.
Okay, we will come to something more practical. In Indian judiciary, over a period of time, it has gone through various phases.
Yes, sir.
If you are to critically evaluate the working of Indian judiciary, what are your views on that, on where we stand with regard to particularly the higher judiciary?
Sir, Indian judiciary has been the guardian of fundamental rights as well as the interpreter of constitution, and there is no question with regarding to the integrity and the public faith in Indian judiciary, but it has fallen short of certain matters, like sir rightly pointed out. First thing I would like to mention is the delay and pendency in the higher judiciary. We can see that from the latest report, more than 70,000 cases are pending in the Supreme Court itself. So that is a concern. Similarly, we can see that there is a lack of diversity with respect to appointment of judges in the higher judiciary. There are allegations that there are not multiple representation from women. And
let us focus on quality of judgments.
Yes, sir. Sir, with respect to quality of judgments, rather than in the higher judiciary where there is a lot of media attention, as well as there is a system by which the judges are selected in a manner wherein they have a lot of quality and experience to back them. It is more in the lower judiciary as well as in the high courts that judgments which generally do not agree with the public sentiments or the progressive society that comes up. And at times it has been corrected in the Supreme Court, but we need to, as an aspiring society in a developing world, we need to hope for and demand for more quality judgments and more detailed representation with respect to Supreme Court as well.
Can you suggest some judicial reforms?
Sir, with respect to increasing the quality of judgments?
Both, overall performance.
Sir, with respect to the appointment, the collegium system currently lacks the transparency that it requires. So, I personally feel that that should be, that there needs to be a check and balance with respect to the appointment.
Can you suggest some models from some other countries, democratic countries?
Sir, nothing comes to my mind exactly, but the National Judicial Appointment Commission by itself can be revisited without affecting the independence of judiciary. There can be certain checks and balances. That is first reform that I would like to say. And second reform is that of late there was a news article which suggested that only a certain number of judges have declared their assets publicly. So these are certain steps which they can voluntarily take up by themselves, which will increase the public trust in the system and as well as increase the quality and integrity of the judges which are representing the people at the higher courts.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
Our federalism,
yes,
which is a very basic feature, is it coming under some kind of strain in recent times?
Sir, I do think that there is a lot of strain. It has been that way for a long period of time and it has been coming to the forefront recently as well. For instances, we can see that the Kerala state government has appealed to the Supreme Court against the centre's decision with regarding to the borrowing limits. So that is a strain in the federal system that we have. With respect to the appointments of the governors, there has been a constant tussle between the centre as well as the state in multiple states, including Tamil Nadu, Punjab and other certain states. So when we mix politics and in terms of constitutional positions, there are certain issues that comes up every now and then. But these are part and parcel of the system that we are in, and I hope for the best. And there are reforms that is being well appreciated as well. So it will round up.
Ajith, you can start with that.
Kerala has the unique distinction of having the first democratically elected communist government. But the government did not last 2 years plus. What happened? Was it a failure of democracy or a failure of an ideology?
Sir, I do not exactly remember the history of what had happened. I just, sir, I feel that, sorry sir, I'm not able to recollect the incident as such.
Okay. What are the land reforms that has been initiated by the government in Kerala or by the political institutions?
So in terms of land reforms, the country as such had undertaken certain policies, and it was taken up by the individual states as well. And we had abolished zamindaris, as well as we had put a land ceiling limit, which was around 15 acres per person. So that had been carried out. With respect to land consolidation policy, Kerala had opposed the central government decision on land consolidation. So these are certain reforms that had been undertaken, and with respect to the devolution of extra land to the backward sections, including the tribal population, that had been carried out, but it also had not been completely successful, and there had been certain criticisms on that aspect. But considering the general nature of the land reforms, Kerala had been one of those states which had successfully attempted to perform the land reformation.
Okay. So what is a primary sector in Kerala? Agriculture, cash crops. What is the main source of?
Sir,
activity?
primarily Kerala is dependent
Primary sector,
within primary sector.
Yeah.
Sir, rubber is one of the crops which Kerala has been producing. Almost 90% of the national produce comes from the state of Kerala. Certain other cash crops such as tea and coffee is also being promoted in Kerala for that matters. Spices are a certain agricultural area where Kerala has been pushing really forward. And on the other aspects such as grains, paddy and wheat, Kerala is largely a consumer state and is importing from the other states.
What do you understand about the endosulfan poisoning issues?
Sir?
Endosulfan poisoning issues in Kerala, and it was an issue which was discussed in detail and has initiated a lot of activities.
Yes, sir. Sir, that is a cause of concern, and the reports have found out that the population in Palakkad had been disproportionately affected with respect to the endosulfan issue. So I have not followed up what the culmination of the decisions were, but the government is providing certain assistance to the population who had been affected by the endosulfan overuse.
How did it happen? What was the source of the endosulfan poisoning?
Sir, I am not very sure.
So if you look at the financial sector in our country, banking plays a major role, both for funding purposes, for saving purposes, for all the things that is required for right from the common man to the industrialist.
Yes,
but many times we find that banks get impacted by non-performing assets.
Yes, sir.
So what are the actions that are normally initiated? What are the control mechanisms to deal with the NPAs? Whether the government have initiated any particular legal initiatives which enables the financial institutions to recover the money that is being lent?
Sir, of late, sir, like you rightly pointed out, NPAs are a major concern with respect to banking sector, and of late the government as well as the RBI has been taking up measures to reduce the NPA altogether, and the gross NPA has been reduced to less than 5% in the recent quarters. One such mechanism which has helped to do that is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which has reduced NPAs to a large extent. Similarly, RBI has also been taking steps with respect to putting certain limitations on bank branch expansion or taking up certain other activities. Government is also exploring plans in order to bring out a bad bank by which the bad loans will be concentrated with respect to a certain specialized bank which will attempt to recapitalize that. And there is also obviously the recapitalization by the government which is also being undertaken.
So we have the stock exchanges, the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange. What is the difference, and what is the role these two stock exchanges play for our economy?
Sir, Bombay Stock Exchange has been the initial one. The National Stock Exchange was brought later. Bombay Stock Exchange represents a market capitalization of 30 major institutions, whereas National Stock Exchange represents 50, and the indices are also different. Bombay Stock Exchange is represented by Census, and Nifty represents the National Stock Exchange. This has both these institutions have helped in terms of mobilizing funds for the different companies that has been in the market, and is also a source of investment for the public altogether. So that has been the contribution.
Who is the regulator?
SEBI.
Okay. What are the regulatory functions? Are you aware of any particular regulatory function, any particular directions or guidelines that have come in the recent past?
Sir, recently,
with respect to trading or something?
sir, the initial period of trading was T+2. Now it has been reduced to T+1 by SEBI. So that is the reform that I am aware of in the recent past.
So every country, especially we as a nation, we pride ourselves on the possibility and potential of demographic dividend.
Yes, sir.
What is demographic dividend? I know if you are posted in a particular state or a particular district, will you look at the population, the segmentation and content to understand what can be done? What would be your role? What would be your views on encashing the demographic dividend possibilities in a place?
Sir, demographic dividend means the advantage, specific advantage which a country or a society has with respect to the age of the population that is there. By reaping the working age population, which is 18 to 60, there is a specific advantage that a society receives. So that advantage is called the demographic dividend. And sir, if I am posted in a district, I would definitely look into how to reap and capitalize the demographic dividend. My methods would be to enhance the social indicators by way of which provide quality education, so that they are better skilled to reap the demographic dividend and benefit the economy altogether. Provide improved health infrastructure so that their capabilities are best utilized, and improve the skills of the people in terms of areas where they require absolute skilling. So these would be my message.
See, one of the challenges which we face, both as a society and as an ordinary citizen, is the increasing use of substances,
Yes.
drugs in society, especially younger age profiles.
Yes.
Suppose if you are in the IPS and you are posted as in any cadre.
Yes.
So what are the initiatives that can be done for you to control this menace? Because it's a whole organized setup which has national and international linkages according to the data that is available. So what would be your initiative to control and protect the growing population, the new generation that is coming up from the abuse possibilities? Substance abuse.
Sir, I feel the methodology to counter substance abuse would be two-pronged. First one would be the proper ensuring that the proper law and order is being taken place.
How do you do that?
Sir, the first one would be under the enactment of the act is enacted, but the proper implementation of the NDPS Act, by which we take into custody the people who are possessing more than a certain level of substance. And sir, as a law and order police officer, I would also try to increase the security with respect to the border of
Who are the targets? Who are the targets for the initiatives? Somebody is using it.
Yes, sir.
Unless you prevent either the substance reaching the target, or the target being educated or aware enough not to use it. How do you reach across this?
Sir, it has to be started from the grassroots level.
Which grassroots?
From schools and colleges. So that is the second method that I was trying to imply. So first one would be to ensure that the law and order does what it needs to do, and the second would be to promote awareness as much as possible, starting from the schools and then to the colleges, we can form anti-drug abuse campaigns and cells wherein the students can report any use of abuse, use or abuse, drug abuse for that matter, anonymously, so that their identity is also protected. And there can be campaigns with respect to involving students union or the teaching staff at the college and students level. There also need to be de-addiction centers where people can openly come and join, and so that they can be reformed and put back into the society and become an asset to the society. So these would be the measures which need to be implemented in that regard.
So, Akhil,
Yes.
I was told that you were working for Oracle, no?
Yes.
In quality assaying, quality analysis.
Yes.
What is your job description? What are your role responsibilities?
Sir, we worked as a team. So the developers used to develop a particular program, and the quality analyst had to test that program in multiple scenarios, so that while delivering that product to the customer, the product doesn't falter or there is no complaint with respect to that product. So that was our particular job description. In that job, we had to communicate with the developers in terms of testing that particular product.
So, can you narrate one critical incident in which your leadership abilities as part of the team did shine through?
Sir, once so we work after the program is being developed, and we have to deliver the program to the customer on a pre-decided date, and that date will be announced much before the deployment of the product as such. And once I felt that the product development team delivered the product to us to test that product a bit late, and we did not have much time to test and give a proper feedback to the development team. So we, although I was not the team lead, we all worked together and motivated each other to put in that extra couple of hours per day for that entire week to deliver the product on time. Although it was not our particularly our fault, and our team manager was with us to back us, we initiated upon ourselves to put in that extra hours to deliver the program on time, which we were as a team we were really proud of.
Okay, great. Today, the newspapers carried a report on Kerala Digital University coming up with a very unique chip, AI chip, enabling edge technology. Can you enlighten us as to what this breakthrough is all about?
Sir, the chip that sir is mentioning is the Kairali AI chip, which the Kerala Digital University is trying to implement. So, sir, it performs edge computing in the sense that while delivering the information to the cloud platforms, more often than not, what happens is the entire information that is being collected at the chip level is delivered to the cloud platform, and it will increase the computation process and increase the delay in the outcome. So what an edge computing AI would do is that it primarily does a lot of computation at the chip level itself and delivers the information which is exactly needed at the cloud level. So it will reduce the time delay that is needed in terms of implementing the outcome of the AI or chip. So that is how it also increases the power efficiency. So these are the methods by which Kairali AI would work.
Wonderful. So, what do you reckon is Kerala's future in FOB chips? Do you foresee a future for Kerala in chip manufacture?
Sir, most definitely yes. Kerala has the potential to be a leader in chip manufacturing, considering that a chip manufacturing industry as such is not an industry which requires a huge amount of space as compared to other industries. So we have an advantage there in terms of promoting chip manufacturing industries in Kerala, because we have a limitation with respect to space. Apart from
Why
that,
did the Foxconn deal fall through? Apple Foxconn.
Sir, I am aware of the news, but I cannot currently recollect why that did not fall through. I personally remember it being an issue between Foxconn and Vedanta Group, and I cannot exactly recollect why it fell through.
Okay. Okay, your first preference is for the IAS, is it? Why not the Indian Foreign Service?
Sir, both are excellent services and gives a wide variety of opportunity for a young candidate to work in. But sir, I primarily wanted civil services, IAS, in terms of the variety of job that it is able to provide. You work in different departments such as education, health, tourism for that matter. These are all areas which I would like to try my hand at. So that is my first reason. Sir, my second reason was that I prefer being in India if I have an opportunity, or else it is fine to go abroad. But when you are given an opportunity, I would want to be in India.
Serve India.
Yes, sir.
So, Akhil, do you think Indian diplomacy has utilized the softer aspects, cultural aspects, philosophical contributions, and have leveraged it to our advantage? Can you illustrate, give some examples where we have done or areas in which we could do more?
Sir, India is one of the hubs of soft capital, soft power. I feel that India is pushing its ability in that aspect, but certainly we have the capability to do much more. Certain areas where we have actually realized that potential is when, despite having a conflict with Pakistan, we opened the Kartarpur corridor, which was a achievement if you take it from that perspective. Similarly, cricket diplomacy has been used with Australia, wherein the Australian Prime Minister came to India, and as a part of this, we had signed certain deals with respect to technology collaborations as well. Similarly, whenever the Prime Minister visits a foreign country, for instance Bangladesh or Nepal for that matter, we make sure that the specific temple or a religious place of religious importance is attended, so that there is better people-to-people connect in that aspect. But for instances, sir, I feel that we can improve our soft diplomacy in terms of when it comes to Buddhism. The places that immediately comes to a person from a Western world is not necessarily India, because the 80% of Buddhist tourism, as per a certain report which I read, although I cannot remember the source, is going to the southeastern nations, despite Buddhism having its birth in India. So there are certain aspects on that front where we can develop. So that is my view, sir.
Can we have a Rama trail besides Buddha trail?
Sir, that is definitely a possibility to have a Rama train, but along with that we need to push for Buddha train as well, sir. That will both benefit the community altogether.
But in our neighborhood, with countries with which we share historical, cultural similarities, similar experiences, our relations at the practical level are not very good. So what causes that gap? Take a place like Sri Lanka. We have a huge population which speaks Indian or India-related languages, whereas Buddhism, as you mentioned, is a very strong factor. But our relationship has been a seesaw kind of situation, sometimes hostile towards us, despite cultural engagement, cultural similarities. How do you explain that?
Sir, when it comes to diplomacy, it is a combination of multiple factors. The financial aspect also plays a part in terms of diplomacy. We can see that with all our neighbors, there is a China factor that has been coming to the forefront. To take a cite an example, although India-Bangladesh border is almost the 5th largest border between nation, and we share almost a 5,000 kilometer border with Bangladesh, Despite that, the trade with Bangladesh, China is higher than India-Bangladesh trade. So these are certain aspects which these nations take into account while pursuing diplomacy. So I personally feel that India should aim to build our national capabilities and engage in financial and trade related operations along with pushing for soft diplomacy. I think that soft diplomacy by itself might not be as efficient when it is compared with the coupling with the financial and other relations that countries have.
Thank you. So,
Yes.
I'd like to give your comments.
Akhil, you are very, very impressive. You are a very good candidate. Your knowledge, your capacity to communicate, these are all real strengths. So you must be one of the candidates at the higher end in terms of performance. I have a few suggestions for your consideration. See, you got a lot of facts and your fluency is excellent, so no issues. You can use it a little more effectively, I feel. For example, here and there you can bring in illustrations, like in the last point sir asked, you gave a good example, India's land border with Bangladesh vis-a-vis China, but then when you correlate like that, it immediately impresses, the point is conveyed. Here and there, I think you, otherwise you are going on talking at a reasonably high pace, so everything may not get registered.
Okay.
Rather than making 10 points at go, maybe you may make 5 or 6 points on priority and it registers.
Okay.
I think that will have greater value because you will not grow for words. You don't have any such issues. So you can use it. So the board, when they get here 2-3 good things, then they know this guy knows about this. They will leave to some other things. But when you mentioned about Kerala first government, how it seized it, I thought that was an error you should not have. You should have known that the EMS government's dismissal is universal news. Kerala, India, nationally, I don't know how you missed that.
Sorry, I forgot.
That's a black mark on the Nehru also, who is otherwise his democratic credentials are viewed high. And here and there repeatedly you were telling initially, as you rightly said, I thought you were saying that a little too frequently.
Okay.
And sometimes the board, they are elderly people and they may or may not like, I don't know, it depends. So it's better to use it carefully. So you can talk a little slower, a little modulate, bring in illustrations.
Okay.
And here and there I thought you were showing a little defensiveness, particularly when you were ending the point. This is all I have to say, a little expression.
Okay.
Actually, you have nothing to be defensive.
Okay.
This is something which you should keep in mind.
Okay.
You are really good. So there is nothing to be defensive. That's all. I am telling all these things because you have the potential to do exceptionally well. Okay, all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Gifted with a very pleasant personality.
Thank you, sir.
So you should encapsulate that. Cherry element of stiffness. Cherry that our relaxation body. It's an anxiety. So that should be absent.
Okay.
We should be reflecting confidence.
Sure.
And when you look at the board, frequent once in a while, you're looking on all to the entire board, but then engaging the board with your eyes and board engaging the Madhuri interaction continue.
Okay.
You are giving your answers, you are interacting well, but engaging the board is a very important type of thing. So that you should be able to do. Many times they say grand finale in the the answers are not coming to a good conclusion. They abrupt ending.
Okay.
When I was expecting that you will say 1 or 2 sentences more. Then suddenly there is a stop.
Okay.
അപ്പോൾ അബ്രപ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവും ആൻസർ. നമ്മൾ ഗ്രാഫ് വരയ്ക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ പെട്ടെന്ന് വന്നിട്ട് താഴേക്ക് വന്നാൽ മതി. സോ യു ഷുഡ് ഹാവ് എ നൈസ് ഫിനിഷ്. ദാറ്റ് ഫിനിഷ് ഷുഡ് ബി ഇംപ്രസീവ്. സോ അതൊന്ന് യു ജസ്റ്റ് കീപ്പ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ മൈൻഡ് when you try to modulate the answers that is there. Then ചെറിയൊരു ആബ്സെൻറ്റ് മൈൻഡ്നെസ് പോലെ ചിലപ്പോൾ തോന്നുന്നു. ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് സംതിങ് എൽസ് ഇസ് റണ്ണിങ് ഓൺ യുവർ മൈൻഡ് ബിഹൈൻഡ്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ദാറ്റ് ഡോണ്ട് ഗിവ് ദാറ്റ് ഇംപ്രഷൻ. ബി present 100%. Be present in the present 100% and be well with the flow. And all the critical areas you brush up, because some basic factors of Kerala, പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട major events that affected the lives of the people, Endosulfan, those type of things may not come now. It is quite, it has been discussed and talked to Amrita, but you have to be aware of that. In case something happens, some question comes, you should be able to answer this. Land reforms, educational bill, all those related items that led to the fall of the government. Then Indira Gandhi's presidency of the Congress, all those things you can have in mind. So you can give a very comprehensive answer if you have aware of the full details. So those areas of things which you can do. Then about the space program, the Indian space program, all the recent events that happened, Kerala's contribution to that. So those things also you can keep in mind. So generally preparations can be little bit more broad-based. Answers can be focused with a very conclusive and concrete ending, and then engaging the board in a more friendly manner, sitting back a bit relaxed, and trying to be very pleasant. When you smile and when you are pleasant, you emanate a lot of positive energy. So make it a habit. Make it a habit to give positive energy and deal with the situations as it comes. All the best and do well.
Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, Akhil, you come across as a confident candidate. I find the general demeanor is pleasant. You're able to quite articulate, take a stand. But then, as sir put it, in some situations, close your answers. Perhaps reach a conclusion rather than leaving it a bit open-ended or being hesitant to come to a. See, one aspect I noted was Oracle, you've still you're holding a temporary position for the last 5 years.
No, sir. I had left Oracle after.
Oh, you had left Oracle to prepare. Okay. It was showing temporary, so 2019 onwards. So I didn't probably read through the to 2020. But, so see, probably a question can crop up on those lines. You've taken the leap of faith of landing into civil services. Yeah. So philosophically, if you look at it, what could be the? Because you've been doing so well, as I understand, equally proficient in your technical domain, rather, so to say, domain expertise also. I think by and large, maybe a few edges what we have been mentioning have to be smoothened. Otherwise, you stand a very. What was incidentally? I recall you having come for the
Yes, sir. I
one-on-one or something.
Last time also.
Last time, what was your score in the interview? Was
Sir, 173.
173 was pretty. But still, what pulled you down?
Sir, I think certain areas in the DAF, my preparation level was not up to the mark. So I personally feel that was the reason why my mark came down a little bit. I could not answer certain basic questions which I should have.
Fundamental questions.
Fundamental basic questions.
So they were. It was a random kind of interview. They asked
sir,
very
diverse,
DAF-based questions.
Mostly DAF-based.
So what is hip hop dance you are doing?
Sir, it is a form of dance which is inspired from the United States. There was its origin. Of late, it has been trending in India as well. So in colleges, there are certain competitions which are being going on. So I was part of that college team, dance team, and we participated and trained for almost 3 years. So that is an area of interest.
So 3 years. Right.
Some general interest in our folk arts, Teyyam, Kathakali, those type of things also you can brush up because since you are a hip hop dancer.
Because the dancing can take.
It's not only about international or other areas, but what happens in our country, what is our cultural contribution.
So can you have a fusion of elements of hip hop with our traditional dance forms? is a possibility.
Sir, it is definitely a possibility. It is been actually explored by certain dance groups which has national recognition as well. It is definitely a possibility, and I think it might take that detour in terms of the future years. So that is a possibility.
Are you interested in any sports?
Sir, I play cricket. I play football as well, but I have written cricket in the DAF.
No, what exactly, I will go back to that question. What pulled you down? Was it the main marks? And if so, in which area?
Sir, in terms of my optional subject was philosophy, and the marks for philosophy was also not to the level that I expected it to come. So I particularly do not know why it came down a little bit. So that was one reason. And I think interview, I should have scored at least 15 more marks with respect to interview. So hopefully this time around I will give it a bit.
But this time your mains performance, would you rate it as a better performance compared to last time?
Sir, different subjects, for instance, the general studies paper 1, I felt that I did it better last year. But when it comes to general studies paper 2, I did better this year. So I do not know how it
This
altogether.
is all relative. It's relative.
It's not a question of how you have done.
Yeah, how others
how
have
badly others have done.
That is also there.
So,
Yeah. Okay, fine, finish, sir.
so
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you have done very well, and with the kind of advice that you have received, pay attention to those, and you should succeed this time. Okay. All the very best.
Thank you.
You don't bother about the past.
Yes, sir.
You are be on track. Stay confident.
Yes.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
Take the mic off.